Someone else you can check out today. We missed him last week. Hey. Charles Demetrius Cavaleras III is back with us. Chuck, thanks for being here.
Back in town, baby.
Chucky C. Vols hung with Georgia for longer than usual last night on a night when Georgia's backs were against the wall. They rushed for 150 yards. They keep going up in rush yards under Heupel. That's the first time he's gotten over 150 versus Georgia, so you're getting a little closer. So, Chuck, is Tennessee closing the talent gap with Georgia? Or was this a missed opportunity because Georgia probably just took a slight step back and they're going to be back to Georgia next year? What's your take?
I think it was a missed opportunity. But I'll tell you what, Georgia's now beaten you, 8 straight times? And all of them been by double digits. We got one thing I think we definitely need to say. Georgia's won 29 in a row at home, 29-0.
Haven't lost back-to-back since the Hail Mary catch
exactly.
was the second in 2016.
I mean, it's a tall task, but you also look at it, Georgia's won 53 games in a row against everybody except Alabama and Ole Miss. So it's the bar is set extremely high. I don't think the talent you recruit is on the same level as the talent Kirby Smart gets and coaches and how they scheme around certain things. I just don't.
Okay, we got a missed opportunity as opposed to closing the gap. Who's next? Who wants to get in here?
Well, I'm saying we're closing the gap. I really believe that. I mean, we haven't played our best game yet. And yesterday, although we hung with them.
Better hurry, it's week 10.
But provided we're able to make the playoffs. Hey, look here. We got a lot more.
That's questionable.
A lot more. It's questionable. Yeah. It's questionable, but it was questionable also when people worried about what we can do. We've got a lot of potential. We've got some guys that can play the game. Our coaches are working hard. And we doing yesterday a couple of plays, a couple of calls that may have switched that whole momentum thing around, made it kept Beck out of the zone. And a lot of things that happened yesterday that Tennessee could have capitalized on to win the game. We didn't. We know what we got to do. We can do it. We got 2 more games left, and let the pieces fall where they may after the 2 games.
Bob?
Wow, I'm shocked Sterling said closing the gap.
Don't be shocked.
But you're going to be shocked that I agree with you.
Whoa!
And here's the reason is I think a lot of it to me has a lot to do with Nico. I think Nico, he's not a superstar yet. He's not where hopefully the finished product will be yet, but he keeps getting better, and he looks like he could be up there at the star level. Georgia doesn't have anybody that we've seen on their roster. Plus, when I've watched Georgia for the past few years, they look like they have Supermen on their team.
Okay, they're all in the NFL now.
Yeah. But they've got good players. But I don't see the gap being like this anymore. I mean, they're still better than you are. Yeah. But I just don't think it is a huge gap where you've got guys, when they had 5, 6 first, second round draft picks on their defense alone, I just don't think they're that good anymore. So I think the gap has closed a little bit.
All right, we got 2 closed gaps. We got 1 missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think it is closing. It still exists. There still is a gap. But 2 years ago, Tennessee was ranked number 1 in the college football playoff ranking, went to Athens. Did anybody watch that game and think, okay, Tennessee and Georgia, they're evenly matched up on the field? I thought that for a portion of the game. At halftime, I thought, okay, that was a pretty evenly matched up 2 quarters. It wasn't over 4. But I think the sport, to kind of Bob's point here, the sport is going to make it tougher for Georgia to get back to where it's been the last 3 or 4 years with the transfer portal. If Tennessee can continue to develop, get Georgia at home, you have a better shot, I think, in a one-on-one matchup. They weren't going to win last night, I think, in the end, in Athens. In Knoxville, in the next 2 or 3 years, I could see them beating Georgia. It'd be the first time I'd say that in probably 7 years.
It's a good point. I'm not going to leave Chuck on an island by himself, though.
Thank you.
I'm going to say it's a missed opportunity because I just look at it. I believe you're right in Nico. I feel better about their Tennessee situation going forward at quarterback, the most important position, than I do Georgia's because theirs is an unknown at this point. However, am I going to feel better about Tennessee's receivers next year? I don't have any reason to believe that. Your offensive line, that's going to be completely rebuilt next year. Your defensive line, is it going to be as good next year? This was a generational defense, a really good defense. So when I look at it and I say, yeah, you're closing the gap, I think you're gaining as a program. I think your program is continuing to get better. I don't know that I'm willing to say you're closing the gap on Georgia because I've seen Alabama do this where they're 12-0, 12-0, 10-2. Oh, that's the end. They're finished. Saban's done. 12-0, 12-0. I'm not sure that that Kirby Smart in this case is done yet. So, for the moment, I'm going missed opportunity because if you made me bet right now, Tennessee or Georgia in Knoxville next year, I'm taking Georgia.
Yeah.
Who would you take?
Right now, I take Georgia. Yeah, but I would give Tennessee.
I'm not even
Tennessee.
asking.
No, yeah,
I'd give him a shot.
okay.
I mean, I think you could ask the question if that game were played in Neyland Stadium last night. I still think Georgia wins it, but
Yeah.
they benefited from playing at home. There's no question. So, okay.
I'm going to go with Tennessee next year at home against Georgia.
All right.
Because in a year, nobody will remember I said that.
I don't remember, bro. I remember.
I got the tape, Bob. All right. When we come back, is it fair to say Josh Heupel can't win on the road? Come on back.